But it is a culture, and I'm sure other cultures are like this, where, the woman has to give until she's depleted. Hi, I'm Jackie DeVito, a mental health therapist and coach out of Boca Raton, Florida.
Hi, I'm Tim Andrews, mental health therapist and coach out of Boca Raton, Florida.
And welcome to the Courageous Hearts podcast.
Yes, this is Courageous Hearts. And today we're going to focus on something that's near to us and something that we put together and just accomplished. And we just talked about perseverance and we persevered through. And this is why we wrote our book.
Yes.
I know. It's exciting.
The Courageous Hearts book.
Yes.
So we decided to write a book about relationships. Because of really inspired by what we were seeing in our practice.
Yep. And a lot of what we were seeing in our practice was a lot of powerlessness. People would come in relationships and feel as though they had no power and feel as though nothing would ever change and feel lost. Lost. Much of that.
Yeah, I remember I had a client in my office and he was about to get divorced, and it was my first time seeing him, and he was telling me all the reasons why he was going to get divorced, why his marriage wasn't working, and I was like, didn't really feel that the reasons were attributed to his partner. It kind of felt more like his belief systems were driving everything. Everything was pointing to him not feeling good enough. So I said, okay, well, give us a weekend. Give us a weekend before you do anything. And to his credit, he trusted us. And we got together. We were like, everything that we know, everything we've learned collectively, personally and professionally, we poured into a weekend with them.
Yeah, we did. And the result was powerful. I always think about the result, and before I get to the result, there's so many people that come in, coupleship wise, and just feel like there is no way through.
Yeah. Well, because first of all, that couple thought they were going to come in and it was going to be like a weekend of couples therapy, like traditional couples therapy, which it wasn't, which you and I knew that we weren't going to do that. And the entire first day was almost like individual work for each one of them.
Yep.
It was, what belief system is running the show for you?
Right.
And we knew for him, it was, he felt not good enough. And for her, it was something very similar. And it was,
no one could ever do enough.
And it was like they were just repeating their belief system over and over and over and over. And then, where the powerlessness is that we're looking for our partner to change. Like when our partner changes, when they make us feel good enough, when they appreciate us, then everything will be better. But really, it's about us taking control of what we can control, which is ourselves.
And recognizing that the exact creation that stands before us is coming from us.
Yep.
In the old theory, like we're the projector, that's the projection. And
absolutely.
We really focused a lot on, or we really do focus a lot on, to your point, that first day being how their individualization creates a coupleship.
Yep.
A lot of times the couples would come in and they want us to fix, a couple would come in, they want us to fix the relationship, not understanding that they made the relationship.
Yep.
It doesn't just happen out of thin air. I believe that we do a really good job of showing people, through this working on their belief systems, that we have almost an identical relationship that their mom and dad had, whether the mom and dad stay together or not.
Yeah. just some of the things we've seen over and over throughout the last year working with these couples has been incredible. Like how we see their belief systems just come to life. Like the person that believes that they're alone, all of a sudden the partner walks out of the room in their most vulnerable moment, or the person that feels invisible, the partner comes up and just scratches their name off the board without even realizing. I mean, it really, our belief systems are so powerful in what we create.
Even a couple that we're going to be working with in the future here, the near future, I was talking to them this last Thursday. I was talking to them, and one had said, the wife had said, it's like it was in real time. She's like, it's like you're always distracted. He said to her partner, and he's like, no, I'm not. Meanwhile, within about a half hour, the dog had gotten the iguana. The maid had come to say goodbye 2 times to him personally, and the son stopped by the room to say something. I was like, here we are with it. This was in the span of, I swear, 25 minutes. We had already 4 interactions that really showed that this guy was always distracted. And she never felt good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't getting the attention that she was wanting.
Yeah.
And he was showing up in the way that, when you drill it down, I mean, we'll do a lot of work with them when they're in the training, but when you drill it down, we'll see that everybody was distracted. He never got attention, or he never got to be prioritized, just like this experience happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really fascinating. I remember when I did my own work around this, the one that was like driving the boat or the bus for me was that I wasn't lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And the partners that I attracted into my life were people that really did not treat me in a very loving way. So when you see these partners or these friends, like let's say you have friends and it's like they keep dating different people, but it's the same person.
Yep.
It's like I have a friend that can be in a room full of people and she will pick the cheater. Mm-hmm. I have another friend, that'll be in a room full of people and she will pick, the one that'll like the lazy one that'll like just, juice her for everything she's got. But like, it's these belief systems that are doing the picking. It's not us.
No. I remember I was working with David. He was, and through my divorce, or through the process of the entirety of the relationship, he's been with me, or he's still with me in many regards. And the point was, it was just like I couldn't ever get what I want. And he goes, when did that stop happening? I said, once she started like all of a sudden she started doing everything for her life. And he's like, where'd you pick from? And when I really began to think about it, I picked from, I need to rescue somebody.
Mm.
I picked from a standpoint of I have to rescue, which is a never ending.
Which came from your childhood.
Yeah, which came from my childhood. And it's a never ending. I mean, it solidified 2 things for me at one. I mean, it actually solidified nothing, but my thought processes was to be the rescuer. You can't leave me if I rescue you. And then I get resentful for having to rescue you, and then I push you away and you leave anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what went on in my childhood. I was consistently rescuing, and not being rescued. By the way, rescuing but not being rescued, and then the totality of that experience left me alone because that's how I felt my childhood.
Sure,
I was alone anyway. That's how I felt. Yeah, all the time.
I think that's the other really good point is that these belief systems are created when we're really young.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't know that we have these belief systems. And they're in direct correlation with our relationship with our caregivers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's where they all stem from.
Yeah.
And I wanted one more point that really brought us into this book. But again, Dave really helped me with this too. I would be complaining about what not happening. I'd be crying or all the above. And he would always say, Tim, she is not the cause of your discomfort. You are the cause of your discomfort. He would say it over and over and over again, which is, which with a lot of these couples, they think she or he, as you said earlier, is the cause of their discomfort. Mm-hmm. And when I recognized that I was the cause of my discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't she, them, hit, they, or anything other than me and what
Mm-hmm.
was going on from the outside. It gave me the opportunity to comfort myself
Yeah.
and to do what I couldn't expect other people to do for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really childhood again, right? It's like we grow up, but we don't grow up. We get older, but we don't grow up.
Yeah, I feel like we get older and we regress almost. You know, not only do we not grow up, if we're not doing the work, it's we just keep going back and back and back.
Yeah.
10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I mean, sometimes, I mean, I remember things at 2.
Yeah. See, I grew up in a Spanish household, and I grew up with women that were like very hardworking, really strong, but really huge martyrs. And, like I remember like my grandmother cooking for everybody all the time. And she would feed everyone and not even sit down and eat. And, you were expected. I remember when I brought like my husband home for the first time, they were like, "What are you doing? Serve his food." And I was like, "No." Um, so the person, like the harder your life, the better woman you were.
Sure.
Like from a moral perspective, like, oh, she's amazing.
Right.
She raised 5 children on $3 a day. It's like she never ate.
She served everyone.
Oh my God, my grandmother would tell me if I had friends over and I gave them like snacks, which we never had snacks in our house, but if I gave them anything, a soda, which we barely ever had, she would be like, "I take the food out of my mouth to give it to you, and you're giving it away."
And that's the set point. Think about that. That's the set point from where you came from.
Yeah.
What a high standard
Yeah.
to have to stand up to all the time. Where it's no space for your own well-being.
No, it
No
was
self-love.
no. There was, I mean, my grandparents, like, they were the best. They loved me to death. They were super loving. But it is a culture, and I'm sure other cultures are like this, where, the woman has to give until she's depleted.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got married and I had a husband that was traveling most weeks, I wouldn't go to the gym because I was like, well, what kind of a woman leaves her children to go to the gym? I wouldn't meet my friends for dinner. I wouldn't do anything for myself. So what ended up happening was I was miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought life was so unfair because I had no family near me. My husband was gone all the time. I worked a full-time job. I had 3 children, under the age of 4. And and people would say to me like, "Jackie, you're living your life in victim." And I didn't get it. I was like, "What are you talking about? This is factual. My husband is not home. I have no family. Where am I in victim? Like, this is just the cards that I've been dealt, people."
And that is literally different stories, the way people were coming in. And not just one. It was all.
I have all of them.
Yeah, all these coupleships would come in, especially the ones that have been around for 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, 25 years. They would come in completely powerless, blaming the other person for their not getting what they want in the world, or not being happy, or not being seen,
or being controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have clients in my office where they're like, "Well, he thinks he's my father." And I'm like, "So how do you create a relationship where you need to be fathered?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to have the other person off the hook, but the only power that we have is over ourselves.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. The only power we have is over ourselves. And that's what we teach.
That's what we teach in this book, is taking responsibility.
Teach full responsibility of your life. And then you can choose, because most people aren't choosing. I believe most people do, most coupleships, they honestly do come in and want to change. However, the road is the road less traveled.
Tim,
I
promise you,
think
I promise you
about it.
that I didn't see what I was doing. I literally thought my life just sucked because of, I was very lonely. I was alone. It was overwhelming. And like, well, this is my life. And what I did not see was that, yes, my husband traveled all the time. And yes, I didn't have family nearby, but I could make time to go to the gym. It didn't make me a bad mom. I could go out with my girlfriends. And the problem wasn't what I thought it was.
Yep.
The problem was that I wasn't creating a life for myself.
Yep.
But I did not see that. It was a foreign concept.
I know. Me too. As you say it, I did not see. I did not see how I was creating isolation and all alone, and I had to do everything.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the way it felt. It felt like I was all alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was isolated, and I had to do everything.
Yeah. So that's why I felt that it was so, because this is what our workshops are.
Yep.
And this is why we felt it was so important to get this information out, because as a society, we do not look at a relationship from the scope of personal responsibility.
Yep. No, we don't. Which, by proxy, you would feel powerless.
Yep. And by the way, personal responsibility means that you have the choice to leave as well.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that you're creating it all, therefore you should sit and take something that doesn't work for you. Personal responsibility also means that we also have an option to leave if something doesn't work, which a lot of people don't necessarily feel that they have.
No, I have a number of people too that was also part of some of the stuff that we recognize. They don't know that as much as someone would say that that's on the table, most times it's not. That was the other thing that we would recognize in a lot of these coupleship, like extraordinary relationships. It was either they had to suffer through it, or they get into affairs, or they would
blame their children,
or they would blame their children.
Say I can't leave because of the kids. Mm-hmm. And that is a complete lie. Like, research shows that it is healthier to split amicably, like in a healthier type way.
Sure.
Than for children to stay in a home that is unhealthy.
Right. Because that's what they learn. I mean, I was in a home that was unhealthy. So then I learned that I had to take care of people. I learned that other people's needs were more important than my needs. I learned that you had to rough it out. And I learned that dissatisfaction and being unhappy was just part of it. Yeah. And I don't know that, obviously you can be unhappy in really extraordinary relationships. It's not always peaches and cream. It's that we get the opportunity to work. This is what we teach. We get the opportunity to work towards what extraordinary looks like. And many don't even know what it looks like. And that was the other theme that we would see. Like, well, what would it look like to have a relationship beyond your wildest dreams? To have a relationship that was extraordinary. If I asked 10 couples that came in, 7 of them would have no idea. I don't know. Or they come up, well, if he'd be home on time. It would just be some real limited scope. Yeah. That would make the relationship. That doesn't make the relationship. Mm-hmm. It's in a lot of what we teach is just high level communication.
What was it that you said the other day, that the ultimate goal of a relationship is for spiritual?
If we had, that was
really good.
That was from someone else that I was listening to, but yeah, he said that. He talked about marriage being an old archetype. Mm-hmm. That it's an old archetype, and the reason that we got together in the first place to get married was to have two or better than one. That's where marriages came from. We needed someone to help. And then he said, however, if we're together today for the highest common goal is to help each other develop spiritually. Yeah. That would be a solidified enough of a solidified goal to help the marriage stay together.
Yeah, I love that.
I did too. I thought it was really profound. Mm-hmm. And accurate. And again, we talk about those 6 basic human needs. The last one being contribution. That's spiritually driven in the world, to contribute to the world. So if a coupleship is out there in the world looking to find ways in which to contribute, then they're spiritually driven.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned a lot about this through, obviously our own work, and our own, and even our own work as partners in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't, this isn't, something, but that's all it's all because everything's a coupleship, everything's a relationship.
Everything's a relationship.
The relationship with my dogs and different my relationship with my kids and my ex. Some would go look at your car. You'll see the relationship you have. If it's messy inside, you'll see the relationship you have. It's the way it goes. If it's dirty, you'll see the relationship. It's clean on the inside, dirty on the outside, dirty on the inside, clean on the inside. It's all representative of, and that's what we teach. Like everything's representative of everything, and that gives us a tremendous amount of power.
Yep.
That's where the power lies.
Yep, I agree. So how does the healing come into play? So we know that we create these belief systems when we're young. Our brain is making sense of the world, but the logical part of our brain is not developed yet. So we're making, our parents split, or we're being bullied, and that creates a belief system that then we wear as like goggles or filters.
Right.
And everything is being seen through this belief system, whether it's I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, the world isn't safe, people leave, people will abandon me. And then we recreate this in our relationships and our jobs, all over the place. What do you think is the path to freedom?
Vulnerability is probably the path to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about what someone had said to me the other day. He had said, "You're sensitive," and I am sensitive. I didn't own being sensitive though. I just got into a power struggle, which is part of this, into a power struggle. And the reality is to embrace my sensitivity and be like, I'm in the spot right now and I'm sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
That's vulnerability.
Sure.
Instead of, but it's
safety and vulnerability.
Yeah, but when we have so much powerlessness, even when he was a really good friend, one of my closer friends, if not my closest, it doesn't matter. The only thing I know with him is we always go back and redo. But again, it's the same thing, it's the same relationship. It's not a coupleship. It's just the same type. So what we're driving a lot of is like, how does it feel? What does it mean about you? What does it say about you when this or that or the other thing happens?
Yeah.
And once we create that vulnerability to recognize, because through vulnerability, we'll see we're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
We're all having the same feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, it was very life-changing when I did inner child work, when I got in, because when I'm a very anxious person. I used to be a very anxious person. Now I would say I'm just run-of-the-mill anxiety. I think it's just always going to be who I am. But there was a very long time in my life, I think it started, well, probably from the moment I came out of the wound, but in my 20s, 30, some parts of my 30s, like there were panic attacks. There was just like this catastrophizing that went on for me, where it was like always worst case scenario, always bracing for impact. I remember David that you talked about said, "You look like you're bracing for impact." And it wasn't the 30-year-old woman or the 35-year-old woman that was standing there. It was, the 6-year-old little girl that shit always fell apart, So when I learned to do that work, and we talk a lot about this work in the book, that rewired my brain and created a lot of trust and safety within myself. It's really one of the most powerful tools.
I know, for me too, when I'm actively practicing taking care of a little boy, we do it through the mirror work, we do it through putting our hand on our hearts, we do it through a myriad of different ways. It shows up because we have to show up for ourselves first.
Sure.
And that's what we're teaching people too. You got to show up for yourself.
I mean, if you look at like books that they give kindergartners, I remember when my kids were little, there was this book that their kindergarten teacher used called like "Who Filled My Cup" or something. And it was about like, you want to be a cup filler, not a cup dipper. And a cup dipper is somebody that would like make somebody not feel good, but a cup filler was somebody that would make somebody feel good. But you always had to make sure your cup was full because you couldn't pour from an empty cup.
Nope.
And she would have these little jars, and if you did something nice, she'd give you a little cotton ball to fill in your cup, and then if you were a cup fuller, that was a good thing, right?
That's cute.
Yeah. So it's like, that carries on through our life. You have to like make sure that your heart is full, that you're feeling. We can do it.
Yep.
Only we can do it.
Yep.
And I think from that place, then we get into the book, like from that place of total responsibility of what we're creating, we get into communication practices, intimacy, boundaries, and all the other components of a relationship, but really through this new scope of like, what am I responsible for? How did I create this? And how long do I want to stay in this spot?
Yeah, that's it. And when you start getting the tools down and you start practicing, I know we just did that podcast on perseverance, and you start persevering, with that everyday simple practices.
Yeah.
It foundationally makes our lives bolder.
Yeah. And this is individual work, but when you do it with your partner or in a or with community, it is the most beautiful thing, because I've done it in a community where I can talk. I'll tell you, Tim, I'm anxious, and you'll say, have you been doing your inner child work? And I'm like, no, I haven't, or I can, talk to one of my best friends that did this work, and she'll say, well, you're really leaning into victim right now. Where do you have power? Where can you make changes? Where do you have responsibility? And I'm like, or step into your contract, or it's like another language that you get to speak with the people that love and support you. It's really a beautiful thing. We got to write one for families.
I was thinking that, and for kids.
For kids.
I was thinking about both those. I wanted to say one more thing. I wanted to say this ability to change in the moment and change our belief system is huge. And I was thinking about how many couples come in, as you were looking at me. I was like, many couples don't come in as friends.
Oh no.
No, they come in and so
they're adversaries.
Yeah, they've lost, and I'm like, well, you guys were once friends. That's where that powerlessness comes into play, where the hopelessness comes into play.
Well, they make them their parents.
All the time.
We see it all the time.
All the
time. I remember in my marriage, always working, always, and like asking for permission to go buy a pair of jeans.
Right.
And then being upset when they would say, well, no, you have like 10 pairs of jeans. Why do you need jeans? It's like, what? You're not my dad. But I made them my father.
Yeah.
I made them my caretaker when I'm like, hey, I could really use some jeans. Meanwhile, I'm like making my money.
Like baiting them.
Yeah.
Getting the okay.
And, not to say that like there shouldn't be responsibility in relationship with purchases and different things and a mutual respect, but a pair of jeans. I mean, I could have gone and bought a pair of jeans and it would have been fine. Yeah.
That is the lowest level of wrong, is like when we've already made them mom and dads. And that's how everybody comes in.
Yep.
Whether they don't necessarily see it at first, but it's always a primary question. Who are they? Mom or dad?
Who did you marry?
Yep. And the wrong answer is neither.
Yeah.
Because someone goes, no, I don't understand. And we always know that that's the case.
I got stuck at first because my parents on the outside were so different than who I married, until I figured out it's how they make you feel.
That's right.
So anyway, I hope this was helpful.
Sure.
We create our belief systems.
That's right.
They show up in our relationships.
That's right.
We are not powerless because we get to choose how we show up.
That's right.
And how we respond. And inner child work is the key to freedom.
It's the absolute key.
Yeah.
That's right. It's absolute key.
So come back for more amazing information.
Thanks for joining. Have a great day. Bye.